Well, it's fall, and Mom came over today so that we could make some of her family favorite mincemeat recipe. This is a recipe that's literally been in our family for many generations, and it's a classic. I mean, we looked it up a little bit today just to see where mincemeat originated and how it was made back in Old England days. And it looks like back in the 13th century, they made it not too much differently than we make it here and now. One of the things is it's a fall dish because it's something where the main ingredients of green apples and tomatoes are only seasonal at that time of year. So it happened that the perfect storm, and we had green tomatoes and apples available, plus all of the other spices and ingredients, and it's sort of the perfect time to can mincemeat. So we put it in jars, we make it at this time of year, and it lasts throughout the year if you want it, or it lasts until you run out and you're done eating it. We made some really nice tarts today. You'll see those at the end, and I think you're going to enjoy it. The smell that fills this kitchen now, because we made mincemeat in it, is really indicative of the holidays to us. So the smell of mincemeat is the smell of Christmas and the smell of Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoy it. Here's the recipe. Mom brought it over with her. It's the recipe that she uses and has used for many years. And you'll see the ingredients as we add them and we put them together in this very busy kitchen with Mom and Debbie and I earlier this afternoon. Enjoy. First, we're going to start off by weighing the tomatoes, the green tomatoes. We already got these on the scale. This is about 10 pounds. We're going to weigh these, add some more, and we're going to wash them. We're starting to wash the tomatoes off, like that. Here, Mom, I'm going to get you on there. There, Mom's helping. Here we go. We're doing this. How many pounds of tomatoes?
12 pounds, but we put a little bit over.
This is old school. We've got a grinder from Sears way back when that we're going to use to grind the tomatoes. There's a coarse grinding blade on the front. Okay, what are we doing? To prepare the tomatoes, green tomatoes, you are?
We're cutting them up to get them ready for grinding.
Okay, and so we're taking off the stems and we're kind of...
And then we're just going to
slice them into
because
sections.
it's hard to get them. They have to be cut up kind of small to fit in the hole in the grinder.
All right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
Have to really push them in. This is a big job.
Yeah, we're going to grind the raw tomato. It's a big job. So I'm going to do it in a minute.
We're going to put the ground tomatoes in the pan and bring them to a boil. They'll get foamy. Pour it in. This is our Debbie washing the apples.
From Michelle's house. Michelle's apples.
Michelle's apples off of the tree from her house. Yes, and there are some delicious in there and some Macintosh, we think.
Meanwhile, at the same time, over on the other side of the country, the tomatoes are still cooking up. They're bubbling and we're still grinding, so multiple things going on at once.
6 pounds of apples, which is a half a peck. So we washed them, we're weighing them, and we're going to quarter them and leave the skin on, Mom. The skin stays on.
Skin stays on. We're going to take out the
seeds, basically.
This is the tomatoes going down.
Are they?
I'm just watching them here, see? And over on the other side of the world, they're cleaning the apples up. Taking out the leftover core pieces and flaws. Now the apples are going to have the same fate as the tomatoes. They're going to get ground down right in there. We took the tomatoes from the stove and put them over here in the colander to drain. There they are, all cooked. And tomatoes are still being ground right here.
No, the apples.
I'm sorry, apples are still being ground. I called them the wrong thing. Alright, the apples are done. They've been minced You remember this is a mince meat recipe. Mince is the key word. Everything seems to be minced. The tomatoes have been drained and replaced back in here, and the apples are going to join them just momentarily.
And then you're going to grind the beef.
And then we're going to talk about the meat part of the mince meat. The apples have now been dumped in. They've joined this steaming pot of cooked green tomatoes. And now we're going to talk about the meat. What
You
to do?
cook it at a time until it's tender.
How do you cubed it?
I bought beef stew meat,
Oh, okay. And then
so it was already cubed.
and you cooked it how?
I just stewed it on a little bit of water and on low heat.
2.5 hours of cooked actual what kind of beef meat?
Yeah, it was stewing beef, really beautiful, nice and
Beautiful
lean.
stewing meat. Because you want good looking stewed meat in your pie.
Right,
That's what you want. When you make a pie, you want really good meat.
So that was good. Once we get this all mixed and then has to
So these are all the spices? Is that what's going on?
Yep. Added ingredients.
All the added ingredients. So what do we got here? We've got currants and raisins and molasses and salt and lard
In place of suet.
in place of suet. Cinnamon, ginger, cloves, nutmeg,
Brown sugar.
Cinnamon.
and what's the apple cider vinegar?
Yep.
Okay, those are all of our other additive ingredients. We'll look at the quantities in a minute. We'll talk about that. So the suet's got to be, if it were suet, it would have to be cut up into small pieces. But since
It
we're
would be
using,
ground,
it would be ground. Oh, minced also.
but
Lard.
Lard is sort of creamy
gotta be-
already.
yeah, it's got to just be cut in small
gotta be
pieces
put
so it'll
into-
melt while it cooks.
Okay, into dollops somehow, so it'll melt when it cooks. See, the lard's made it in there.
Right.
Looks like mozzarella on a pizza.
It's going to taste better than
Mozzarella.
mozzarella.
All right, so now the other ingredients. What are you're going to mix them separately in this?
No, I have to measure.
Oh,
We
okay.
need a cup and a half of vinegar.
Okay. Do you have to use apple cider vinegar? Or
No,
okay.
no. They didn't specify. I just figure it would be a good one.
Okay.
All right. Teaspoon of salt. This is the secret recipe. So we need a teaspoon of all of these dry spices. Nutmeg.
Just a teaspoon in that whole big pot. Wow.
Seems to me like not enough.
Of what?
It's just a teaspoon for this huge pot.
Yep. Teaspoon. Right. It's not that it's super strong. A teaspoon of every one of those. A teaspoon of cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg, and ginger. All right, and we used 2 pounds of raisins.
2 pounds.
I mix them in color. Usually you just
Okay.
get this one, but
All right, dark
It
and
doesn't
light.
matter.
So pound of each.
yeah, I thought it would be fun.
Pound of each.
And a cup of molasses. Smell that? Smells like molasses cookies, doesn't it?
Should I put it in here?
Yeah. And 1 pound of currants. They're just like raisins,
Well,
smaller.
tinier. They're supposed to be more what? Tart? I think less sweet.
Brown sugar will be the last thing, and we need 3 pounds, I believe. Yeah, 3 pounds of brown sugar.
All right.
In with the meat.
What are you doing?
I'm going to have a hamburger. I'm throwing the meat in, actually on top of, we didn't show it, but on top of all of the brown sugar. There's 3 pounds of brown sugar in there. We use dark, it doesn't matter if it's light or dark, but look, you kind of can't tell the meat from the brown sugar. I bet if you tasted it, you could.
You need a spoon to scoop it out.
I got it. I used my clean hand. Very nice.
Are you using your hands? That'll be best.
I'm using my hands. It's like the old
Yep, that's the way they
mountain
did it.
man way. Okay, that's it. All the
Yay.
ingredients are in this
The pot.
gigantic pot. So first go get you a giant pot.
Right, right.
Okay, now what? Goes on
Put
the
it on the
stove.
stove.
Get it also a weightlifter.
Right. Bring it to a boil and then simmer it for an hour.
I'm actually mixing it a little bit before
Yes,
we do
it
it.
should all be mixed. It's
Yeah.
all gonna be mixed up.
Feel like one of the witches in,
Yeah, that's
was that Hamlet? Witches.
hot.
Cauldron burn and boil and bubble. So this is coming to a boil, or a simmer. How long are we going to simmer it, Mom?
For an hour.
Once it
simmers for an hour,
once
and
it's
watch it 'cause
reasonably
it will
simmering.
stick.
Yeah, and you don't want it to stick on the bottom. So, but it smells like Thanksgiving right in that pot, right in there. Okay, here are the jars. We got them ready. We're just unpacking them now from the package. The lids and the jars. We're going to boil the lids so they're in this little pot. We're going to boil water and put it into the jars to sanitize the interior of the jars. And then you'll see what happens next. We'll show that to you. Meanwhile, we're kind of waiting because, and I'm not watching this pot because I want it to boil. So we want that to simmer. We want the mincemeat to simmer over there with all those ingredients. It smells amazing. It's so rich. And then we're boiling water here for those lids and for the jars. So we're gonna just take a little rest while we wait for the pot to boil, and then it boils for an hour. So we've got a rest built into that also.
We're gonna take this over there too.
Okay, that's been boiling. That already boiled. We've got some of that in a.
Hot
We're
in the
going to
jars.
see in a minute. It's in the jars. So we put some of the hot boiling water in these jars to acclimate them to the heat.
Right.
All right, the mincemeat is done. Been going for an hour, bubbling
Simmer
and
for an
simmering, and now it's migrated over to this side of the kitchen. And we're gonna get a scooper and pull some of that out and put it in the canning jar. There, you're gonna do it. Show me there. Yeah.
See why I asked about the funnel?
Yep. If you have a funnel, that'd be good. But these are wide mouth jars, so there's a little bit of help there.
But the funnel is
Funnel would
probably
be ideal.
a big wide mouth. They have them for canning.
Yeah.
And I should have brought that.
Well,
and
next time we'll do that.
And I should have brought the tongs for the lids.
Yeah. It's got to be hot in your fingers.
And we need to wipe this off.
Want one of these? Oh, you got it?
You know, I want a deeper one. I want one that's really hot down on the bottom.
Yeah.
Tight,
Make it really as tight as you can.
tight as I can.
And then
Upside
flip it
down.
over.
And there it goes. And we're in business.
Okay, now we do that with the other ones.
Yep.
Okay.
All over.
There
Well,
are
the
jars.
How, you know, because you've got so much more room to do yours in than mine.
We're waiting for the lids to pop.
We're waiting for it to get cold.
And then we got the pan, the big giant pot soaking. And the really exciting thing is we have some tarts. Open the door. There they are, the samplers. We turned them into tarts. 4. Well, there used to be 4. Somebody ate 2. They're really wonderful mince tarts, which you could do as a pie as well. And frankly, there's wonderful recipes for mince cake and mince cookies, other ingredients with all those spices of fall.